Hey guys, so I finally have my microphone synced up to my camera. I had to look up a way to actually be able to input everything as I'm recording so I don't have to sync it manually when I do the editing. So hopefully this turns out really good. There was a little bit of a background hiss. I think I fixed it just by changing the settings on my camera, so hopefully it's alright. Bear with me if there's any sort of issues. I'll deal with it in the future. So I wanted to share a bit of an experience that I had actually last night, and it started off with me going to my best friend's house. I haven't seen him in months just because of the lockdown and everything. We were, wanted to be safe and everything, but it wasn't such a huge issue just to, go down there because it was just him there pretty much. So when I got there, we ended up doing ketamine, and I think I bought around like a half gram or something like that. I don't really need too much. I don't really like doing it more than one time out of a long while. I probably do it like once every 2-3 months maybe. And this experience was actually very interesting for me just because the kind of headspace that it put me into was something that was very very warm and loving in a certain sense. So when in the ketamine dosing or whatever, I just kept redosing, like every time I felt I would come down a little bit, I would dose it even higher and higher. So I definitely K-holed, and we were watching Midnight Gospel, which is the new Netflix series, which is narrated by Duncan Trussell. And I'm a fan of Duncan Trussell. I love watching his podcast with Joe Rogan, and he even does talks with Dakota Wint. You guys know Dakota, obviously. Dakota's bomb dude. And that it was really heartwarming to really watch that show, because it was literally like watching a Duncan Trussell podcast with basically all of the topics and things that we're into, like meditation, altered states of consciousness, and philosophy, and things like that, and what my channel is kind of dedicated towards. So it was such a resonant experience for me to be in that a vulnerable mindset, being K-holing and just lying down on the couch watching this montage of crazy visuals, and on top of Duncan Trussell having a podcast pretty much. So I also it also reminds me of the fact that when I used to watch Adventure Time, I would also do K and watch Adventure Time. So there was a lot of a nostalgia component to it as well, because I believe that they teamed up with the creators of Adventure Time to make Midnight Gospel. But it's just an amazing thing, because Adventure Time would make references to DMT and things like that rarely, but this one was actually like deep into the philosophy kind of stuff that we really enjoy in these parts. So I want to basically explain where my head was at, pretty much like on the throughout the show. It was almost becoming like a sensory overload in terms of the visuals and stuff. It was just madness. I felt like it was so choppy, and I kept going like this to see the frame rate of what I was seeing, because the show, I guess they chose a very, very small frame rate, so it was almost a slideshow on how they move. So I was that was tripping me out for a bit, because I thought that my frame rate was messed up, but it was just the show. And I remember where my consciousness was kind of heading towards, or where my state was going while I was watching this. I felt an incredible feeling of oneness, and it was very strange, because I was experiencing this while there's a lot of there's a lot of change in the world with all the panic and everything, and I felt as if I was if we as a collective, or us as a society, humanity, I felt as if we were moving towards a singularity in terms of our access to the internet, and how on Netflix, I'm now watching a TV show that is almost overlapping with the podcast that I'm watching on YouTube. All of a sudden, I'm watching mainstream TV, and it's the community that I kind of associate with and everything. So it was all, I felt an incredible amount of, as if entropy, everything was gas, and then it's converging into a solid. Everything's becoming one again, and I felt as if my feelings of solipsism, which is basically me feeling like I'm the only consciousness, it felt like that was overridden by this whole experience of oneness, to be more somewhere along the lines of someone else is imagining me while I'm imagining them. So there's really no there's no point where I guess experience is the most valid or the most true. It's all true. It's all one. I felt an incredible amount of oneness, and I could just feel a lot of connection to all of the kind of psychonaut personalities and influences that I've had in my life. I was thinking of, the guys from Tool, Joe Rogan, Duncan Trussell, Dakota Wint, everyone in the whole psychedelic community. I just felt an incredible amount of connection to them all, and it was a powerful experience. I can't really explain what I was feeling very well, but I hope you guys can appreciate that. I wouldn't say life-changing, but it was just an affirmation of the good kind of philosophy that I think people should hold on to. The whole notion of we are all one and stuff, and we're all part of the same consciousness. And we're all real, we're not all fake or whatever. The solipsism is definitely an incomplete revelation. And deep down, I know it's incomplete. I just use it as a method to bypass trauma by, as I said in my other videos, by using it as a method to not take things seriously when I feel I've been personally hurt by something, And in that moment, I could feel myself almost letting go of that trauma, and being able to embrace the fact that we are all one, and it was just a powerful experience, and it made me really want to jump into the psychedelic experience again, specifically DMT, because I've just been afraid of it, and something about watching that series on ketamine really it made me fear death a little bit less, because I've been a bit more fearful of death now, but I've come to a more less of a fear response to the whole concept of it, and how it's not the end of something. It's just I felt as if I didn't want my journey to end. I didn't want consciousness ever to stop, experience ever to stop, and I felt like I didn't want to do anything to poison my body. I'm really paranoid about my health, in terms of not indulging in anything that's going to compromise my health too much. I like having experiences, but I'm very careful not to do anything to harm myself, because I just don't want experience to stop. I want it to go on forever. And I know that even if I were to pass or whatever, I don't really think it would be the end. I really feel like there's more to experience after that. And what was really powerful was the last episode, because I was starting to come down and I didn't want to do any more ketamine. I was coming out of my K-hole, and I was watching the last episode. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it was a really deep episode, and they were talking about the impermanence of life, and it was like I think Duncan was talking to his mother and stuff like that. I really got to watch the series again, because I was kind of out of it, so I couldn't really bunker down on exactly all the concepts they were talking about, but it was just fascinating, experiencing that on ketamine, and just having everything and feeling one with all of it. I really recommend people watch it. It got amazing reviews apparently, the series, because it's just something that's completely different. It was very, very well done, even though, you know, the visual or the drawings and stuff weren't, you know, all ultra detailed, but that's the style it goes for, because it's kind of like Adventure Time. But after that, I just felt so close to everyone in the community, and everyone that I've, you know, admired and liked listening to. It was amazing. I felt it was so warm, and especially watching the last episode. You guys have to watch it, definitely. But I really, it was almost making me like tear up a little bit. I was actually when I got home, I put on Tool's Reflection, and you know, it was making me kind of tear up a little bit, just because I felt so moved by the experience that I had, and I felt like that was a good sort of something to package it all into something that was really something that could move me emotionally, I think. So right now I'm definitely really motivated to jump into the DMT experience. I don't know if I'll do it tonight, but I really want to just see and not be afraid of what's going to happen, because my mom kind of jinxed me and told me, like, oh, if you do it the next time, you're going to die. But it's just her trying to scare me and stuff like that. And I didn't want that to jinx me. But I'll see that as more of a metaphor of ego death, not something to take literally, because, you know, even if that were to be true, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think it's the end. I think that we're going to keep going. We're going to keep all being connected to each other in a way. And I just felt that was something I should share with you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the little experience that I've reported here. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.